Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Play Print21, the weekly news bulletin for the Australian and New Zealand print industries. I'm Print21's editor, Jan Areza, and this week's episode is brought to you by Ball & Doggett, Australia's leading distributor of printable materials, press consumables and printing equipment. Let's kick things off with a major milestone first. Family-run Lewis Media Group, formerly Cliff Lewis Printing, celebrated its 50th anniversary at its South Sydney premises last week, with over 100 industry professionals in attendance to mark the milestone. For 5 decades, Lewis Media has served Australia's print, signage and display industries, evolving from a small family operation to a national player with carbon-neutral credentials. Based in Tarrant Point, Lewis Media is a one-stop shop, specialising in delivering complete services for digital and commercial print, point of sale, mailing and distribution, signage and creative solutions to businesses Australia-wide. Today, the company is run by brothers Adam Lewis, General Manager, and Matthew Lewis, General Manager of Sales, who took over from their father Cliff Lewis in 2000. Currently with 35 employees running 2 shifts, the company plans to continue expanding into signage campaigns and other services driven by customer demands, along with diversifying its services. The company also plans to add new machinery under its roof to further adapt to market changes. Congratulations to the Lewis family and everyone over there at Lewis Media Group. To outdoor print next, which saw spending on it rise strongly in the second quarter, up by 11% on the previous year. Some $86.17 million was spent on out-of-home print advertising in the second quarter, compared with $77.63 million in the same period last year. The growth was tempered by a 1.8% reduction in market share against digital outdoor, with print now accounting for less than a quarter of the total spend at 23.7%. In total, the net outdoor media revenue increased by 19.36% for the second quarter at $363.6 million, up from $304.6 million for the same period last year. Next up, the owner of Australia's last remaining paper mill says his plans to transition away from coal power is in doubt after Tasmania's electricity provider told him it doesn't have enough electricity for his plant. David Mariner, who bought the Boyer mill, told ABC Radio that the future he planned for the mill as a sustainable operation is unknown, thanks to the energy issues, and said the future of the company's 340 staff was at stake. Mariner wants to replace the plant's coal-fired boilers with new electric boilers, which he has already bought from Norway, but says Hydro Tasmania has told him they don't have the extra electricity to power the plant. Hydro Tasmania suggests that Mariner should buy electricity from Victoria instead, which he says is too expensive. The mill, which is one of the 4 main industrial complexes in Tasmania, is one of the biggest power consumers and one of the biggest carbon emitters in the whole of the state. And finally, the country's biggest magazine publisher is up for sale, with R Media's private equity owner taking offers for the business it bought 5 years ago, and which prints almost all of its products at IVE. R Media is the business created 5 years ago from the merger of the country's 2 main magazine publishers, Bauer Media and Pacific Magazines. The Bauer business was better known as Kerry Packer's ACP Magazines, which Bauer bought in 2012. 8 years after that, Bauer bought its main rival Pac Mags, but then only a few weeks later sold the lot to Mercury Capital for a knockdown sum. Although Bauer spent $565 million on its Australian magazine portfolio, it sold the business for less than 10% of that, with Mercury buying it for $50 million. When the 2 publishers merged, IVE, which had the smaller Pac Mags account, managed to win the new enlarged account, with its main rival at the time, Avado, which had been printing all of Bauer's titles, was left with nothing from the merger and collapsed 2 years later. Well folks, that's all we have time for today. For more on these and other stories, head over to our website, print21.com.au. Thanks to our sponsor Ball & Doggett, Australia's leading distributor of printable materials, press consumables and printing equipment. This is Jan Areza, editor of Print21, signing off for another week.